Hello, everyone. Today, I want to share a story about reincarnation that I once heard from a Buddhist monk. Before we begin, I should tell you, I personally believe in reincarnation. During meditation, I've had moments where I saw what I felt were my past lives. If you asked, was that really a past life? All I can say is, I simply knew. It felt connected to who I am today. So when this monk told his story, I believed him with my whole heart. He was different even as a child. Right after he learned to walk, he would sit facing a wall and meditate, almost like the reincarnated lamas in Tibet. When he was 5, his family was too poor to raise him, so they sent him to a temple. But from the moment he arrived, a single question never left his mind: where did I come from? One cold winter day, as he was sitting alone in the main hall, a gentle, warm-looking woman appeared. "Little monk, what troubles you?" she asked. "I want to know where I came from," he replied. She smiled, took his hand, and together they stepped out of the hall. In an instant, he found himself living as a poor farmer in rural India, constantly hungry, never having enough to eat. On his deathbed, he made a desperate wish: in my next life, I want to live without worrying about food. When he opened his eyes again, he was a princess in a small kingdom. A life where she didn't have to lift a finger, where hunger did not exist. But she had no freedom. Confined inside high palace walls, she envied the birds that flew freely outside. Before she died, she prayed, "In my next life, I want to live freely." The next moment, he was a Hindu sadhu, a wandering ascetic who left the world behind to seek enlightenment. He lived like a beggar, with almost nothing. But his mind was freer than ever before. Still, he felt unbearably lonely. As death approached, he whispered, "In my next life, I want spiritual companions to practice with." Then he awoke again, this time as a revered master with hundreds of disciples. He taught Dharma, guided meditation, and listened to people's suffering. He was never lonely, but he was always busy with responsibilities. And so he wished, "In my next life, I want to meet a great teacher and practice sincerely, without all these burdens." And finally, the moment he opened his eyes again, he was a young novice monk sitting in the temple hall. Standing beside him was the same gentle woman. She smiled and disappeared. Much later, he realized she had been Avalokiteshvara, Kuan Yin, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Hearing this story gave me a small insight: perhaps we are reborn because of our deepest, most earnest desires. If we long for wealth, we're born into a life that chases wealth. If we long for power, we pursue power. If we long for fame, we spend a lifetime chasing recognition. But eventually, we learn that none of those things truly satisfy us. As I listened to the monk, I felt a bit relieved. I've never been interested in money, power, or fame. So then, what was my wish for this life? Looking back, ever since I began meditating in my early 30s, I've always felt like a seeker. Even when I worked as a professional, that inner identity never changed. Maybe that's why I'm here today, sharing meditation stories with all of you. That's all for today's story. Thank you so much for listening.